The results then from the matches that they've played starting from Wednesday last week. So 10 days ago, Pirates with the draw against the second division side from Spain, Cordoba. Then the only loss of the campaign against the highly rated Al Ittihad side from the Saudi Pro League. Bounced back against Las Palmas by 1-0 with that late goal that came from Boitumelo Radiopane, who has scored twice in the pre-season so far for Orlando Pirates. There's the starting lineup then for the Buccaneers, and all change from the match played a couple of days ago against Las Palmas with that victory by 1-0. Radiopane is in the starting lineup today, but he came off the bench to score that goal for Orlando Pirates. Sipo Chain will start in goal. The central defensive pattern with Sibisi and Siema, Sibili at right back, Hotto at left back, and then Nduli Mbata, Maswangani, who I think is going to have a fantastic season this time around. Apollos and Moremi on the wings, and Radiopane. As far as Neom are concerned, well, Marcin Bulka, the Polish 26-year-old, starts between the posts. The right back is Al Burik with El Dosari, and Zeze, the 21-year-old Frenchman, playing at the center of defense. Islam Hawasi at left-sided fullback. But the goals likely to come from Alexander Lacazette, the 35-year-old veteran and former French international, who starts up front with Mohamed Walid. There's been Rahma there outside, and Amadou Kone from the Ivory Coast, who's just 21 years old, will be hoping to make an impact as well in this pre-season match for Neom. Neom coming off a loss against Granada, the second division side from the Spanish leagues, by 2-0. That was on Wednesday. That was the last time that Pirates played as well, when they beat Las Palmas by that Radiopane goal, I think 5 minutes from the end of that encounter as well. So a little bit of a smash and grab there for Boitumelo Radiopane. As usual, not alone upstairs, because I have the privilege to be joined by a living legend, William Shongwe, the former Eswatini national goalkeeper. And you've had a bit of action, but I've had 7 weeks of lazing next to the pool. How are you, William?
I'm excellent, man. It's fantastic to be involved at this level of football. Obviously, pre-season, there's a lot of things that you expect at this stage of the preparations for the next season. With Pirates, obviously, the champions. Looking forward to be able to establish their reign in as far as going to be the champions in this coming season with all the signings made. But this starting lineup today is more likely the squad that is going to be more regular in the starting lineup for this season.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, and there have been some good performances that have been put in throughout the course of the week, and you've had the newcomers or coming through the ranks at Orlando Pirates like Siyabonga Dladla. And here are the tour dates, and judging by that last date, that is the match that's being played today. And it has been a fabulous season. And it did start off with a draw against Cordoba, and then a win against Cadiz would have put Orlando Pirates at ease. The loss against Al Ittihad, well, that was something that they'd have to overcome, but Al Ittihad a really, really top side. And then Las Palmas in that previous encounter with that 1-0 victory, really coming up with the goods as far as that was concerned. So some good results, I think, in total. Only the one loss in 4 matches.
The loss you are referring to, obviously, against Al Ittihad, for me, it was a question of a lapse of concentration. The 1 goal right early in the game, 10th minute, and then obviously they scored the other goal second into the second half, and in fact late in the first half they scored the second goal, and then late towards the end of the game, that's when the third goal was scored by Al Ittihad. So for me, these are certain moments whereby you see that clearly it was just a lapse of concentration, but they got it right in their third game against Las Palmas, whereby they were able to keep a clean sheet. So hoping that will be the same today.
Talk about some of the players that have left Orlando Pirates, and there have been quite a number of them. Interesting that Melusi Buthelezi has moved to Sekakuni United, and then players like Thabiso Labitso gone to Stellenbosch FC, and Bokazi, of course, had left previously to Chicago Fire in the United States of America. Karim Kimvuidi is playing in Israel at the moment, and then of course Alibokile Mofokeng getting that signing in a side that finished second in the Belgian Premier League. He signed with Union SG. We wish him all the best of luck. Another player that might be missed, Sipho Mpule, missed out on the World Cup call-up, has gone to Iraq, and he's playing with Zako Football Club. Tsepo Mashaluani and Ndlozi both going to Sekhukhune United. So there are some gaps that need to be filled. And, you know, you look at the team and you're saying, well, who's going to fill the boots of Relebohile Mofokeng? And I think as far as the lineup is concerned here, I'm looking at a talent Mbata who's really got a lot of skill. He's had a couple of good matches in this tournament so far. Maswangani is going to be that natural leader in the midfield. The wide play from Apollos and Moremi will then cover for Relebohile Mofokeng. And Boitumelo Radiopan trying to do what Neom Butuma did when he was given the opportunity by coach Abdesalam Wadu to play in the starting lineup. It's his opportunity. He scored 2 goals in the preseason against good opposition, one must say. Is he going to be able to carry that forward into the season? Because I reckon that Pirates are going to look towards him and Evidence Makgopa to lead the line.
Indeed, that's a big question mark. Obviously, it's not the first time that he's at this level, having come from the DDC team and progressed into the senior team, and he's found it hard to settle into the first team. But with this preseason performance and being regular in that starting lineup, is obviously given the coach a reason why he should be a regular coming into the Betway Premiership, and scoring those goals means a lot against like top sides you mentioned. So we're looking forward to seeing the Radiopan that we know he can produce like we've seen him before.
What's fascinating for me as well is the amount of game time that's been given to some of the players that ordinarily didn't get time. If we look at Tapelo Koki, he played 4 times off the bench in this tournament. He hasn't been named in the squad for today's encounter. And if you look at Masedele, he played 4 times and, you know, 4 appearances as well for Mpo Padime. And so this is what the preseason's all about, you know, and it's all very well for people to be writing on social media platforms, no, you know, that doesn't, I'm not confident about Pirates and this and that and that. The preseason is for new players to be identified and to fit into a squad system. And I'll give you another example. Sibisi wears the captain's armband today. It's only the second time he's wearing the captain's armband. In the first 4 matches, 4 different captains. Now you tell me there's not jostling and juggling and testing of skills and young people. I mean, Cameron Damson wore the captain's armband in the previous match.
Yes.
And it just shows you, I mean, he's a terrific player. Are we going to see him coming more to light and more in the starting lineup, the 21-year-old who came through the Transnet School of Excellence to Pirates Juniors and now into the senior squad? I mean, what about that goal he scored against Sundowns?
So, yes, there's so much to go with what you've just said now. It's alongside the coach being able to give everybody a chance at this time so that he knows exactly who he has come beginning of Betway Premiership. So every player has been given the opportunity. So the coach is now satisfied with what he has. Going forward, he'll be able to filter these players should there be a need. And it's a long season to start with. And so there's still going to be injuries, suspensions and all that. So the coach has to play around with these formations and all the list of players that he has in his bag.
It's been very warm in the European summer, and there's been all sorts of reports about how warm it's been. The wind is absolutely pumping around the stadium as well as we speak. 2 captains greeting each other with the match referee, Mohammed Al-Bureik, the 33-year-old former Al Hilal right-sided fullback, 46 international caps he has earned with the 1 single goal from his right-back position. He'll lead the troops here for Neom today. And the captain of Orlando Pirates and Kosanati Sibisi, 30-year-old. He signed from Le Mans Golden Arrows a couple of seasons ago. And I think he'll also settle in with Leboni Siema into you know, a regular pairing as far as the centre-back looks at Orlando Pirates when the regular season gets underway. In just a week's time, may I add.
Well, I think that combination or that partnering in that center of defense is already proved itself with Pirates winning the league with that pairing. With Mbogazi leaving, going to America, that's when Siema came into the fore, and he fitted in so well, having only just arrived a few months back. So that one for me is the least of my concern.
Beautiful gesture once again. The opposition coach, this time Christophe Galtier, the 59-year-old Frenchman from Neom, receives a pair of painted boots, specifically painted and given as a gift by Orlando Pirates to their opposition. We've seen it in previous matches. It's a wonderful thing to have and a wonderful gesture by Abdesalam Wadu and the management of Orlando Pirates, who are known as the Buccaneers down in this part of the world. Abdesalam Wadu, Moroccan-born, 47-year-old, international, 58 appearances for Morocco, 3 goals in his career at centre-back. Christophe Galtier, by the way, also played as a central defender. Maybe not for the French national team, but he certainly made an appearance or two for Marseille Football Club, who in their day were absolutely prolific before Paris Saint-Germain took over as far as dominating the French Football League is concerned. Action commentary. Can we have some sound effects, please? So ready to get underway then. Blustery conditions in the late afternoon at the Marbella Sports Centre. It'll be Neom who will get us underway, playing in the all-white strip. Orlando Pirates playing in the all-black strip. A little bit of a blue down the side of the strip of Neom. And Alexandre Lacazette, the veteran French striker, 35 years old, had a good spell at Arsenal before playing for Lyon. And we're underway then in Marbella. It is Orlando Pirates against Neom. Neom still have one further match to play as far as the pre-season is concerned, and that'll be next Friday against Las Palmas, who Orlando Pirates beat by 1-0 just a couple of days ago, and that'll be some sort of yardstick between the two sides. But yeah, we wait to see how the team settle down. We'll look there at Kamahelo Sabili-Bili, who signed from TX Galaxy and incidentally celebrated his birthday on Tuesday, turned 24 years old.
There's always something to look forward to, Kevin. Beginning of the game, in as far as what kind of approach are we going to have. Yes, this way you see if this is a steady build, a team that builds up from the back, or are they playing in transition. Already we've seen their last attack was very quick going forward by Neom, and for me that's where you can pick up which way is this game going to go.
Interesting start to the match here with the long ball being played out towards Dion Hotto, and hasn't he been a faithful servant of South African football, but particularly of Orlando Pirates. He started his career from Namibia with Abafana Bestende. The Montville Golden Arrows moved to the centre of South Africa with Bloemfontein Celtic, who I think you'll remember later became Royal AM. And then played with Bidvest Wits before signing with the Orlando Pirates. He's an absolute quality player at 35 years old. Can fill in at left back and on the left wing. Centre back pairing for Orlando Pirates under a little bit of pressure, but that's a good recovery from Leboni Siyama.
Good on the ball, regardless of the pressure he was under. Was able to keep the ball with safety and eventually made a pass, but they're still under attack.
Nice clearance from Leboni Siyama for the second time, and now a bit of space in the midfield for Orlando Pirates to stretch their legs out towards Apollos. Rodiopane waiting in the middle. Good ball in from Dion Hotto. Nice energy in the start of this encounter, William.
Well, you want to see this level of intensity in the beginning stages of the game. Yes, you want to play with a reasonable amount of safety, but at the same time, when you have the ball, you want to see what the team can do with the right kind of energy.
Position here for Khalifa El Dosari. Back into the middle with Nathan Zeze, the 21-year-old former Nantes-based Frenchman. And El Dosari was pointing back towards Zeze, but he received the ball from the inside of the centre of defence from Mohamed Walid. A little bit of a straight pass then from Neom. These are such important matches, William. We spoke about the potential of Orlando Pirates settling into this combination maybe for the start of their season, which gets underway on Saturday next week, the 1st of August, and their first encounter, in fact, will be against Milford FC, who were promoted through a playoff system in the South African First Division and the Premier League. So promotion for the KZN side based in Richards Bay, along with Richards Bay FC. And it won't be ordinarily such an easy match. Milford have also made some good signings, and they have done well and have a number of very, very good players in their lineup anyway to have earned promotion to the Premier League. But one must have a look at how Orlando Pirates have done against PSL newcomers. And if you look at last season against Durban City and Orbit, just the one draw. The others were all victories. One against Durban City, a draw against Durban City, and then 2 victories against Orbit College, who were newly promoted. 5 goals scored, not a single goal conceded last season against a newcomer. So Milford, I'm sure, will take note of that and hope to break that sort of mould. But Orlando Pirates, a quality side, and winning the league the way they did, also phenomenal over Sundowns, who had been dominant for 8 seasons in a row.
Most impressively for Milford is the fact that they didn't stay much long in the National First Division, and immediately they were promoted. So the management, as we look into this opportunity here by Moremi, but I'm talking about the management and the approach by Milford to be where they are. It's very, very professional. And the owner, obviously a coach at the same time, a doctor by profession. So you got to appreciate where he comes from and what he's been able to do with the team.
Yeah, it was fascinating to know because, being in the big league now, the other side, the things that really have to change as far as the approach from a first division side moving into the Premier League is that they have to have a DDC side, a development side. So that's going to be something new. And the other part of that conversation was is Kante Pupuma, the doctor, going to stay on as coach, or is he going to get himself a coach? Because he seems to be quite keen to stay on. He's a hell of a nice bloke, I must say.
For me, the thinking is he going to drop the profession and be full-time, or is he still going to do both at the same time? This is now, it's going to be very challenging. I think he will look at where the most investment is, obviously, with the football club. So he would want to keep that investment and stay as a coach.
Masmongani with a little foul on the Ivorian midfielder, Amadou Koni. Lanky man is in the background. Christophe Galtier looks on to see if his team can open their account early. They're not going to do it that way, unfortunately. No touch from Sipo Chain. They are a side that can get forward, looking to get forward as well there with Islam Hausawi.
So
Sipo Chain, the 29-year-old who played at the KwaZulu-Natal side, Royal AM, before going down to the Eastern Cape with Gqeberha, with Chippa United, and then getting the plum signing with Orlando Pirates. And he hasn't really looked back since then, has he?
Well, to think that he arrived as a number 3 at Orlando Pirates, but worked his way up. And ahead of him, Ofori was there. And I'm trying to think who else was there, but he was the 3rd in as far as the ladder pecking order is concerned, and he's worked his way up there. And now he's the main man and number 2 with Bafana. Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to knock Ronald Williams off his perch just yet, but there still are opportunities at international level for Sipo Chain. He's only 29 years old, and goalkeepers can go on a bit. As far as age is concerned, you just have to look on the bench with Abdul Rahman Nandagiri, who's 36 years old. And I'm sure, William, you played well beyond 29 years old in your playing days internationally and domestically with Chiefs and Pirates.
I should have stayed longer. Well, that's what it is. Cannot look back and start mourning about what happened in the past. I'm glad that I was at this stage of football. Privilege.
You had some phenomenal, memorable moments as well, as far as your career was concerned. So I don't think there's any regrets as far as that is concerned. And you've got to draw the line sometime. And
exactly.
I must say, you're not doing too shabbily up here.
Thank you.
Orlando Pirates 0, Neom 0. We only 8 minutes into this one. It is the pre-season for both the South African Betway Premiership and for the Saudi Pro League. Interesting to see that Mamelodi Sundowns had also travelled, Kaizer Chiefs have travelled to Spain as well into the heat, and they've returned to South Africa some time ago. But Orlando Pirates, no doubt, during the course of the weekend will make their way back to South Africa in preparation for their opening league encounter in South Africa's Betway Premiership, and the hopes of not only defending that title, but don't forget the part of the opening of the South African season, for those who aren't familiar to it, is the top 8 competition. So the top 8 teams from the previous season get thrown into a mix. It's not a draw because the way it works is that the top team, Orlando Pirates, will play against the 8th team.
That's right.
And then 2nd versus 7th and 3rd versus 6th. You'll work out the rest. And if you go and log on somewhere for a South African Premier League from last season, you'll be able to see who will play whom once that competition gets underway. Has an opportunity. Offside flag stays down, and that is a palpable mess in front of a Sipo Chain, who was completely beaten and had almost given it up. But a miss in front of goal.
Well, that's unfortunately is the problem that Pirates, I think, were facing in that first game and the second game, where they conceded very early. And it was Mbata who gave away the ball position there, won by Benarama, the attacking striking player coming from the midfield. Misses in front of goal with the net gapping in front of him.
Return immediately for Orlando Pirates, looking to settle down now after that early scare. Maswangani picking up behind Dion Hotto. A bit of space for Sitlin Dooley, who signed from Stellenbosch FC after playing in Mpumalanga with TX Galaxy. Just looking to control possession. Another former TX Galaxy player in Kamohelo Sabilibili. And there is this versatility that you have. Both fullbacks can play both fullback and wing. And that's great cover because, you know, on the bench, you've also got players like Nkosikona Ndaba, who came through the junior ranks at Richards Bay FC and will be as a left-sided fullback. But, yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how Orlando Pirates set up against Milford in a week's time in South Africa. Moremi under a little bit of pressure, having been forced to play rather deep on that occasion, the winger. Chain there to tidy up for Pirates. At the moment, not much happening over the halfway line for the South African side.
No. In fact, look at the numbers of the white shirts in the offensive part of the field. And with Pirates looking to build from the back, I think they are basically inviting a bit of a challenge here, because the pressing has come very cleanly for Neom. And as you can see here, it was a Pirates build-up and they were robbed away of the ball. So this is what they need to be very, very careful of, because...
Little ball through the middle and an opportunity to launch it over the keeper. Over the crossbar as well. Don't be fooled by the ball coming off the back of the fencing at the back of the field and into the netting. But a really good opportunity for Chepang Moremi.
It's a good run. He finds himself behind the defensive line with a long pass from defense. And I think he missed the first touch to bring the ball under control. And the ball just bounced high and it was difficult for him to keep it under control.
Martin Bulka, the goalkeeper for Neom, is Polish-born. Played at Paris Saint-Germain before moving to Nice. And then went into the Saudi Pro League. International on 6 occasions for Poland is Marcin Bulka. So if you look through the Neom starting lineup, plenty of internationals in there and junior internationals as well, like Hausawi, like Al Oyari, all junior internationals, and then some senior internationals as well, like Ben Rahma and Lacazette. Mbata trying to control things. You talk about talent in Mbata. He's got this wonderful skill to be able to hold in the midfield as well as then push forward to play a more attacking role rather than an all-out defensive play. He's got that wonderful versatility about him, and he scores goals.
You know, more like the number 8. You want to have Nduli behind you so that it gives you a little bit of freedom as a number 8 to push forward when the opportunity arises, and he's got that ability like you mentioned. So it allows him to play in small areas should he need to be able to find his way in around that offensive part of the field. So it's fantastic to have players with that versatility.
Thanks very much for the director for showing us talent in Mbata, who picks out Sitlin and Dooley. Another man who will no doubt have an opportunity to show his versatility this season. There is somewhat of a physicality from Orlando Pirates. So we've already seen a challenge that was penalized from Patrick Maswangani. And there's another challenge that the referee has spotted.
Talking about Nduli, Kevin, a big injury that kept him out for the best part of last season. Started well in the absence of Makaula, who got injured the previous season as well, and made that defensive role in that middle as his own up until that injury. And just so happened that the Makola was just ready in time to be able to fit in back into the team.
Yeah, it's a very positive thing indeed. Maswangani has been penalised for a foul on Amadou Koni. Orlando Pirates, after that scare from the Neom number 14, who unfortunately we don't have on our team sheet, so we'll just have to try and find out at some stage who that is. But the names of the players of Neom and the Saudi Pro League are not as familiar maybe as it should be. But Orlando Pirates and Neom, great opportunity to play for the second time against a side from the Pro League. But 3 sides from the first division in Spain: Cordoba, Cadiz and Las Palmas. And one mustn't look at the Spanish second division, William Shongwe, and think it's the South African NFD or the Motepe Foundation Championship.
Not at all.
A bit of a difference there.
Not at all. I mean, anything at that level, you got to understand that it is high level. I mean, just above that is the likes of Barcelona and Real Madrid. So you're going to understand that their first division cannot be that bad. So I guess it is maybe at the level of the Betway Premiership or even maybe a little bit higher. So Pirates, you got to appreciate what Pirates are able to do here in the way that they held their own against such standards.
Ball forward by Otwena Polis, and maybe just looking for a more forward progress, but the wind is blowing so strongly behind the backs of Neom. It's difficult for Orlando Pirates to make that sort of progress, and maybe that's why we're seeing Neom applying the sort of pressure that they have. But I must say, Orlando Pirates have adjusted very nicely after that near miss from Neom. There's Talenton Barja, 26 years old, played at Highlands Park as a youngster and then moved to Supersport United. It was a good signing when he signed for Orlando Pirates. Supersport United becoming Siwilele and moving from the capital city down to Bloemfontein. Khalifa El Dosari. Nice defense as well from Dion Hotto and Laboni Siema, because Neom have been forced to turn back towards the midfield a lot earlier now than they had been in the past. Orlando Pirates just making it sure that they're not having things their own way on the attack, Neom.
Packing that defensive half for Orlando Pirates when they do give or when they do have the ball, or when they force backwards, meaning that should there be a loss of ball possession, they should be to apply high press, maybe not as high as the Neom are doing, but Pirates are happy to at least control their defensive half, something that they failed in the first 2 games.
Fabulous season for Orlando Pirates in the previous campaign. They not only won the top 8 competition that starts the South African League more often than not, as there's a little breakthrough here, and Radio Pani looking for some support, and will find it in the Namibian veteran Dion Hotto. Ball out towards Sikle and Dooley. Oh, Paul's got a lovely swerve on it. Space at the back post. Not taken by Kamohelo Sabilibili.
But it looks like they got a corner kick from that. That Sabilibili could have done better. Yeah, that ball was bouncing in his favor. He could have just put his body in between the ball and the defender.
You can see the corner flag swirling around rather disconcertingly. Left-footer Dion Hotto. Spoke about his prowess, spoke about his service in South African football, and he'll continue that this season. Punched away by Marcin Bulka. Pirates looking for second ball. They get second ball as well. Not really sure if that back pass was necessary from the self-same Sabilibili, but no damage done with Sipho Chain. CBC. It'll be fascinating to see if CBC is the chosen one as far as the captain for the domestic campaign, is concerned. And no doubt Abdeslam Wadou and Christophe Galtier will call upon many of the substitutes through the course of this match, and almost an unlimited amount of substitutes that are permitted. Oswanapolis playing more in the midfield suddenly and not out on the flanks. Interesting to see Mbata suddenly dropping back into a left-back position, which must mean that Dion Hotto has moved a little ahead of him.
Yes.
And as we say, the versatility, and that's another thing that the coaches are given the freedom to do then in a pre-season trip away, is to try different combinations, to try different moves, to try different structures, to see players overlapping from each other. As you see, the cover from Mbata for Dion Hotto, you'll see it on the far side. The two wingers switched over, by the way, Apollos and Moremi playing inverted. It just gives so many options to a coach when you're playing in a pre-season. And it might at times look a little bit messy, and it might look a little bit unconvincing. But the plan is much longer than just today.
And looking at the position of Apollos, he seems to have dropped a leg into the middle. This is he plays an inverted on the left-hand side. But with Hotto bombing forward every now and then, he's got to drop a little bit narrow just to allow Hotto that space to run forward. But this is how Mofokeng, by the way, he started playing as a number 10 because he got used to tagging inside, and the coach thought, well, it seems like you're faring well there. Let me try you on a permanent base. And he grew in that position last season and that's when he went to the World Cup to play it.
Nice to see players being able to hold off a bigger opponents as well. Dion Hotto. Siklen Dooley. Positivity of Orlando Pirates and a continuous quest to build up towards that Neom penalty area has been impressive for a little while. A bit of a miscue from Radio Pane. And it's those sort of opportunities. It might have been a slightly awkward angle, but it's those sort of opportunities that if he can get a shot, even if it's on target, that's going to give him the credibility in the coming season.
You want to see that sharpness in a striker of his type, and it falls into his favorable stronger foot, the right hand side. He wants to tap it in, maybe wrapping his foot over the ball. They've done the trick, more like a volley type of a shot.
I was going to say, if he just bent his left knee a little bit and his balance a little bit over towards his left-hand side and use his pivot, you know, it could have had a different result. Much easier in the commentary box.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you cannot stand that much.
22 minutes played at the Marbella Sports Centre. I think that coach Abdeslam Wadou would get so much value, because don't forget, he would be able to have statisticians working on all of the plays that happened during the course of these 5 matches pre-season, and then have a look at the lineups, how they performed with different teammates in different combinations, and put that all together and come up with a league-winning campaign.
It's a big job for a coach to work with that.
Tough challenge on Said bin Rahma, who's been a bit of a thorn in the flesh. It was him who opened up the Pirates' defense when the shot went wide of the target of Sipo Chain. Best opportunity of the match that was not taken by Neom. The Saudi Pro side will have a free kick here. Near post. It hasn't really been cleared effectively. I think there might have been a touch in the centre of that penalty area. Still, Neom will stay on the attack, though. It's been some little while since they've had an attack. Almost looks as if the wind is blowing across the field of play. There's the captain, Mohammed Al-Buraik.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's favouring any one side. As like you say, it's across the field of play. So both teams are struggling to actually play it forward with any form of consistency.
Masungani fouled in midfield. Abdullahi Aluyari with a foul. Oh, an opportunity that just wasn't controlled enough. The keeper came off his line and Moremi wasn't able to quite control. These are some of the opportunities that have been created so far. There was a cross from that left-hand side that went over the crossbar, and then that little breaking run that came from side bin Rahma, and a real good opportunity to open the scoring. Look how he holds off Talentum Barta. Beautiful through ball. Should have been the opening goal of the match, wasn't?
And what I liked about his attempt was that he used the side foot. Normally players, when they get themselves in that beautiful position, is like they go for power. And they tried to place it, but it didn't work out. But that was the best way to approach it. And then this moment from Moremi, where I think he allowed that bounce, which wasn't the best thing. Individual tactics, they say, don't allow too many bumps, or even just that one bump. If you can afford to bring it under control quickest, it's the best way you can go about it.
Sikhlin Dooley finding a ball that was headed towards Kamahelo Sibili, and Neom conceding a corner on that occasion. Then there was that miss from Radiopan himself. Lovely little ball tucked in and just not quite on the ball at the same time. And with the wind blowing across the field of play, it arrived at him maybe a little quicker than he anticipated. This is the free kick that was played in just recently. Good protection in the middle of the park there for Orlando Pirates. And no damage done as there is a water break. I know at the World Cup there were those hydration breaks as Coach Wadu has a chat to his players. But with the extreme heat that has been experienced right throughout Europe, it's the right thing to do to let the team have a hydration break. It does maybe break the rhythm sometimes. You saw that in the FIFA World Cup finals where you had 3-minute breaks. A lot of advertising and things. I can understand, I suppose, the economics of those hydration breaks. I'm not sure we're going to see that sort of thing in the Betway Premiership. There are rules in domestic football that only in conditions that are extreme as far as heat is concerned, you will have those breaks, but not every single match.
Without a doubt. You've got to understand that these breaks are very necessary for good football. As soon as these players are refreshed, they are able to perform better. Where they play with a lot of intensity, unlike when they're trained. The game, the quality of the game just draws to a very almost like a walk in the park type. And that people won't enjoy that type of football. So this is excellent. Unfortunately, obviously, it interrupts the momentum. And this is what players and coaches need to maybe get used to, that this is going to be very necessary for people to see great football.
In the background, you can see the wind whipping across the field of play just behind Martin Bulka. A restart of play with Nkosanathi Sibisi. Really enjoying himself in the colours of the Buccaneers. Orlando Pirates, Talentum Barta looking for Kamahelo Sibili. Looking for a consolidated restart, and potentially what Abdesalam Wadu is telling his team, that ball possession is crucial. Without it, you're not able to score goals. Eldasari back to Bulka.
With it, you deny the opposition any form of opportunity to attack you. So it's both ways. With it, you can score goals, you can create the chances, but with it, you also deny position for the opposition.
Some nice possession football being played here by Orlando Pirates, and a little bit of freedom on the left-hand side, but hogged in the middle of the park by Talentum Barta for a moment. Eventually, the ball does come out to Dion Hotto. There was an opportunity maybe earlier on, but it's a delightful pass, and was initially the return to Moremi wasn't quite executed to perfection, but Maswanganye has ball back. In the absence of Mbule and Mofokeng, Maswanganye has got the world of responsibility on his shoulders, I feel.
And it's a position that is played superbly in the past. And it's a position that I think he can regain his confidence here and be able to play it progressively. He's got quality. He's got great vision, and he can be very influential if only can get back to the form that we know he can produce.
There were times in the season maybe he went off the ball a little bit, but yeah, still possession back here with Orlando Pirates, and they do have numbers available. Shot taken with some venom this time around, which is never a bad thing, and looking to improve upon the one goal that he scored in this pre-season. Talent Mbata.
Same position that he was able to score that goal from. And this time, I think he felt dismal. He'll know that it's not his kind of shots that we know he can take, particularly from some range. So I was looking forward to seeing the same setup from where he scored that last goal.
5 players in the starting lineup for Orlando Pirates. Have played more than 2 matches in this competition. Sipho Chain starting for the 3rd time. So is Chepang Moremi and Patrick Maswangani. But Radio Pan twice off the bench so far. And so is Billy. And the rest of the players all have played 1 match here or there. 1 in the starting lineup, 1 off the bench. And it just shows you that some of the youngsters that will come into prominence throughout the course of the season. You've got to have a big squad. Orlando Pirates will play in the CAF Champions League, and so it's not going to be an easy campaign as Maswangani and Mbata gang up there on Amadou Koni. That is a previous effort from Talent Mbata. Certainly does have a powerful right boot, and it might stand him in good stead throughout the course of the season. Free kick for Said bin Rahma. Played at Brentford in the English Championship, and that ball's gone directly into the back of the net. Wind assisted from Said bin Rahma. Had an opportunity earlier on in the match when he fed the ball through to the Orlando Pirates, bigger part the Neom number 14. And that's a cracking free kick from the 30-year-old.
Now let's see, where did Chain lost control of that situation? I think he was expecting a high ball played into the far post, and it opened a little bit more into that near side, which Rahman saw the opportunity and be able to punish. That could only be the reason. He was expecting a high ball played into that far post and didn't position himself. And it means that his wall was not properly positioned to cover that near post. If you're going to take the far post as a goalkeeper, you make sure that wall at least will save you from a direct shot.
Orlando Pirates go behind there. Neom scoring with bin Rahma. Really quite a curious thing. And yourself being a goalkeeper, William, I think you answered all the questions the fans at home would have been asking. And just where was the wall across to the right-hand side of that defence? And Sipho Chain really left rather exposed.
And it's up to the goalkeeper to position that wall.
Totally.
So, yeah, I think he must take full blame for his for being wrongly positioned himself. If you're not going to put the wall, then be there yourself.
It does show the good vision as well from Said bin Rahma, who spotted that opportunity and just swatted it inside that right-hand upright. And yeah, with the wind blowing across the pitch, one could argue that there was added power behind it, but he's let to get the curl on the ball and sort of across the prevailing breeze, and he did that to perfection. Wonderful opportunity, wonderful goal from Said bin Rahma.
This is a type of lapses in concentration for me that I've seen Pirates being able to concede from throughout this trip, this preseason. I'm sure you can analyze those goals that they conceded, and for me, it's just, this will be a good summary for the coach and his technical staff to be able to review the whole trip and say, okay, where did we go wrong? Because what happens in this kind of trips is what will eventually happen locally. And if it's not sorted out before the league starts, then it's going to be a big problem.
Well, don't forget that with these matches being televised, that we're not the only ones watching it.
Oh, yes.
And that the opposition all around the South African Betway Premiership will be having a look at these encounters and see where the chinks on the armour are. It's all very well being at the top of the table and winning championships and cup competitions. Massively successful treble for Orlando Pirates last season, winning the League Cup, the season beginning top 8, and as well as the Premier League. But when you're on top, everybody wants a piece of you. I see the ball played through the middle again, and they consolidate in the midfield. Do Neom. Bin Rahma again. Cleared by Sibisi. And the Saudi Pro League side really starting to turn the pressure on, although they will be penalised here. And the goal scorer knocks over Patrick Maswangani. Another product of Supersport United, Patrick.
I think it is also important, before you mention Supersport, that he comes from the Farouk Khan Academy, Stars of Africa, and he's the one that gave them the opportunity to go to Portugal, obviously. Spent some 2 seasons there. Yes, it wasn't so successful because of COVID. He had to come back, and Supersport took the opportunity to pick him up, and he's never looked back since.
No, he hasn't, has he? Wonderful stuff as well. El-Dasari pointing the direction in which the ball should be played by Neom. Tough to play it over towards that far side because of the wind blowing into the player playing from the near. But they really look good with the ball at their feet. Do this side from the Saudi Pro League. Chain, well, that's a bit of a dangerous ball, but not picked up by Neom. It's a Billy foul by Al-Barik. Just a little tangle of ankles. I don't think it was anything really malicious from the Neom captain. Nonetheless, free kick to Orlando Pirates. This is Dion Hotto. Sun setting in the late afternoon at the Marbella Sports Centre, but there'll be plenty of daylight still. We might have the floodlights turned on just for good effect, but daylight probably as late as 10 p.m. in Europe at this stage of the year. Bulka hasn't had some action for some time. Nice cover from Talenton Barter. No free kick given, as there was a loud appeal from Neom, and another foul committed by Al-Oyairi. Referee having nothing of the appeal from the 22-year-old.
If there is any form of a lack of intensity into the Pirates game, I'm trying to imagine as well with the preseason, which is always so physical. Yes, there's games.
Nice chip into the penalty area, punched away by Bulka. An opportunity for Barter to pull the trigger again. And a lot of players in defense of Neom ball watching.
But also, I think they were very quick to close him down, which made it difficult for me. He had to execute a little bit quicker. Look at the flood of players into his path. Goalkeeper unsighted, probably. Had it been on target, maybe there was a chance.
Pre-season is not without intensity, and all teams playing in all these pre-season matches want to come up with a victory, and they want to try different tactics, and they want to try different things, and it sometimes works out and sometimes it doesn't. And I think the proof of the pudding will be in the eating once Orlando Pirates line up for their first Betway Premiership encounter, which, having seen Milford FC through the promotion playoffs in South African football and throughout the First Division football season in South Africa, they're a quality side. Their defenders a unit. They play well on the flanks. They've got good attack through the middle with Menzi. And yeah, all in all, a pretty good side, you know. They run hard.
I've seen them play, Kevin. Beautiful football, steady build-ups, nice passing game, controlled in that middle. Every now and then a bit of transition, but they're ball-playing side. So I think they'll be a good team to compete in the Betway Premiership.
And take nothing away from the exploits as we have a look at this attack. A promising-looking attack from Orlando Pirates. Maybe the ball should have been left by Opolis to Rodiopane, but a bit of intensity for Orlando Pirates, and it's a good thing. I just want to say, Milford FC played in the semi-finals of the South African FA Cup, the Nedbank Cup, and that just shows the sort of credibility that they'll bring into the Betway Premiership.
That's where I was exposed to what kind of team they are. So, hey, the doctor is really helping those players with good medicine there. So hopefully he'll have a good enough stock in his cabinet to continue with that fine vein of form.
Looks like a yellow card for this challenge on the Neom captain for Sikhlien Dooley. Yeah, referee straight into the pocket.
game played in good spirit. Apologizes.
Yeah, certainly has. And almost immediately from all the leagues getting back into action, and those particularly on the African continent, there will be African Cup of Nations qualifiers starting almost immediately. That league football gets back underway after the FIFA World Cup finals, and as well as the domestic competitions and matches coming thick and fast throughout the course of the campaign. Adeslam Wadou with the hands on hips and not looking too happy, I must say.
I was talking about these preseason games. There's just so many of them happening at the short space of time. I was talking about the lack of intensity on the Orlando Pirates side. That, for me, could be the result. So when they come back, obviously, they deserve a good rest in making sure that they're really fresh for the start of the season.
Well, when you're playing your third match in the space of 4 days, I suppose it can take its toll. However, the starting lineup today is completely new from the team that lined up against Las Palmas.
That must have been very helpful. Ball position given away.
Yeah, given away rather carelessly in the second bite of the cherry for Khalifa El Dosari. Nicely wrapped up though by Patrick Maswangani, who tries to find a Polis. Good fight back there from Mohammed Walid. A lot of vocals out in the middle of the park. Ben Rahma with the quick throw in. Well defended by Sibisi. Now there's space open on that Neom left-hand side, but the ball just gets away a little from the Neom player. Man in your pictures, Alexandre Lacazette. 4 minutes in stoppage time away from half-time in Marbella. Is Abdeslam any closer to naming his starting lineup or being convinced about the players that are on the pitch at the moment to earn a place in the starting lineup? And don't forget, if you look at the players on the bench, you've got Cameron Danson, you've got Andre de Jong in there, you've got Daniel Nsendami, who signed from Marumo Gallants, a Zimbabwean who came to South Africa with a massive reputation. You know, so there are players that can maybe take the places of a first team place, and that's what you want. You want a team playing in the Champions League and playing locally here that you've got to have cover, player for player, that's of the same strength capability.
Now let's see what happened here. It's a foul against, I think, an elbow into the face from Bata, as was being put under pressure. That's the same player that we're struggling to find his name, who's not in the starting lineup, or should I say that number. And he's so effective, he's involved. So many different occasions in the field of play.
Well, the only player that comes close is Nathan Zeze, the 21-year-old French-born attacker. So we wait to see. Free kick taken again by Ben Rahma. What does he conjure up this time? Well, nothing to the effect that he found last time, and Bata will clear. Time running out in the first half for Orlando Pirates, who get themselves on the score sheet. And William, they have had opportunities. Moremi had a chance. Radiopani had a chance. It was a long chance from Talent and Bata as well. There have been opportunities for Orlando Pirates. And we've had the chat in the middle of the half at the hydration break for Abdeslam Wadou and Christophe Caltier. What is half-time going to produce, and what sort of changes would you even suggest at this stage with the time running out in the first half? Once it'll run through here for Aswinopolis, and good cover from El Dosari, and Pirates will have a corner.
Yeah, for me, the only concern about the performance of most of the Orlando Pirates players is just the energy. Just doesn't seem right. I mean, Apolis, he's one player that has so much ability in 1v1 situation, and he's been just so quiet, abnormally quiet for a player of his caliber. But players like Police Mbata, obviously coming back from the World Cup, you know, never had much rest, and immediately arrived. They had to pack their bags and travel with the team. So that could be another reason why there's no spark.
Absolutely. Well, a trip back home and familiar territory, familiar food as well, maybe. Familiar diet. Ball scoot back in by Dion Hotto, and counter-attack quickly here by Neom. Work to be done defensively. That's beautifully done. Hotto again, cleared by Siema. And eventually Orlando Pirates consolidating matches with Kamohele Sabilibili. It's a nice run from the former TX Galaxy player. Losing out to Zeze. Ben Rahma. Certainly has been very impressive for Neom, has Ben Rahma. Eldosari.
Kone.
Yeah, Coney with a bit of freedom in the middle of the park and out wide once again. And this is where the problems came last time, and this effort going past the upright. And again, a good play by Coney, who had picked up the ball in midfield and then continued with his run. I always like to see that from a midfielder. He lays the ball off and makes himself available on the end of it as we head into first half stoppage time in Marbella. Orlando Pirates 0, Neom 1. Free kick from Ben Rahma on the 31st minute. Doing the job for the Saudi Pro League side, and Orlando Pirates will look to consolidate and fight back in the second half. And opportunities that are created, and there have been some. Apolis Moremi, Radiopane, Maswankani and Bata, all capable of scoring goals from open play, and then let alone set play when you get the likes of CM and Sabisi adding their height into that penalty area. Referee plays just 1 minute of additional time in Marbella, and a half that Orlando Pirates will look upon with some happiness and maybe not some. And the goal they conceded, I think they'll certainly question themselves.
Without a doubt, and certainly I think going forward is where maybe the problems are. But defensively, it looks very tight, except for that lapse of concentration. But something that is can be sorted immediately at halftime.
Yeah, it's very tough when you're playing 5 games in 10 days, and some players coming back from the FIFA World Cup finals as well. Half-time then in Marbella, Neom leading Orlando Pirates by 1-0.
For 22 years, the old Arsenal artillery has lain silent and dormant. But the fuse is about to go boom!
Before we launch into the action,
don't forget to watch the ATP Tour.
More Masters history.
it's the heart, the mentality, no limits, absolute madness.
In the story of the tennis season.
Catch the WTA live on Supersport.
So get ready. You're about to witness greatness. Not just greatness, but the greatest. 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 Greatest.
Welcome to the Big Apple.
Truly, truly phenomenal.
That was simply extraordinary.
Have you ever seen anything like it?
The never-ending pursuit to greatness, only on Supersport.
The never-ending tour, only on your World of Champions.
Welcome to Budapest, the best riders in the world and a storied circuit. Welcome to Budapest.
The Hungarian Grand Prix is underway.
Here comes Max. My word, that is close. What a sight for all those who have made their way in.
And there's the late move.
That wasn't even at the break-in.
This is Hungarian Grand Prix.
Lando Norris wins the Hungarian Grand Prix.
These are the stories the scoreboard doesn't show. The moments between the moments. The pressure and the play. The drama that turns results into journeys and series into sagas.
But then everything changed.
Oh, nothing can beat that.
You saw the moment. this is everything that made it possible.
Everybody should believe that's what makes us grow and push again.
Features on Supersport, a selection of sport's greatest stories told through a new lens.
Welcome to Budapest, the best drivers in the world and a storied circuit. Welcome to Budapest.
The Hungarian Grand Prix is underway.
Here comes Max. My word, that is close. What a sight for all those who have made their way in.
And there's the late move.
That was even at the break-in.
This is Hungarian Grand Prix.
Lando Norris wins the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Coach, so much about this side, and guys, maybe you can talk about this as well. We talk about the two new players coming in, but there's also what left in the season and went to pursue a career abroad, and everyone thought, oh my goodness, how does this defense cope without Mbogazi?
Yeah, you look, the club has a vision, has a process, you know. It's not the first player that is going out. Even it was such important players for us. But we are working as a team, as a unit. So I looking the system of how we defend. So it means that you could not, your system cannot fail if one player or two players has to go, you know. And in the same times, sometimes you have a red card, suspended player, and you need to find the solution. So
but you needed players to step up, coach. I mean, those were big boots to fill. Was that player Lebone Siema? Was he the man in that defense that really did step up? Because his numbers tell me he is the player with the most passes in the entire league. 1,611 passes for Siema. 440 successful passes in the opposition half. I mean, 207 passes into the final third, and I'm talking about a centre-back. How is he doing all that?
It's fantastic. It's fantastic data, but you can see as well with CBC. And it's based about how we want to play, because we want to build from the back, and we want to be patient in order to find our 6 and 8 and to progress.
I mean, guys, sorry, Pumunza, I'm coming back to you now. But Andre and Cash, you will see a Siema running past you guys. I mean, you guys are higher up the field than he is. What does he give you when he gives you that kind of performance week in and week out?
Yeah, I think he gives us another option in attack as well with his diagonal balls, unleashing into the left wing there with Maremi and that. But I think what summed it up is in the derby with Sabisi sprinting 85 metres and nearly getting on to a tap-in. So both of them are so good ball at their feet and going forward.
My name is Lebo, Orlando Paris captain. Keep watching Up the Bucks.
Dobsonville Stadium was the place history was made by the Orlando Pirates reserves, as in 2026, this Bucks team became the first from the club to win the DStv Diski Challenge, and that was done in the final game of the season. The boys arrived knowing that they only needed to avoid defeat to secure the title. 3 minutes before half-time in what was a bruising physical encounter, it was Christian Derbyshire who rose majestically and broke the deadlock with a well-worked corner kick. And the second goal was almost immediate, as Oratile Rantasi being brought down in the box gave the referee no option but to point to the spot. Mpopadime extended the advantage by slotting the penalty home to make it a 2-0 lead before half-time, a lead that the boys in black would not relinquish. The victory was the DDC Pirates side's 24th of the season and meant the Buccaneers had amassed a record 75 points for the season.
Unrivaled happiness for the happy people. But the class of 2026, it's discipline, heart, a relentless mind, leaving the average version behind. A champion is forged, not just born. Standing triumphant in the early morning and in the afternoon. Then we'll talk about them at night. It's Orlando Pirates, champions of 2025-26. Job well done.
First of all, I would like to thank the man above for the talent that he gave me and the opportunity. And I would like to also thank the managers, the chairman. Most of all, I was doing it for him. It was a very difficult season. Lots of ups and downs, but with my team, my strong team, the mindset was everything to us, the belief. Thanks for the support. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. Thanks.
Brilliant. And these boys, they were the 12th man today. For the last probably 10, 15 games, they've literally come out, supported. They've been at UJ supporting us. I think the Swelele game was amazing. I think there must have been over 1,500 of them centre line because we were playing Swelele later that day. For them to come out and support these boys, you know, there's potentially some of them the next generation of the PSL boys. To see them clinch this title and support them all the way, it got us over the line, you know. Of course, the last 10 minutes, it got hard on our legs. But when you see people chanting for you and they're there, you can see the crowd is for you. You know, it just spurs you over the line.
Pep Guardiola's phenomenal reign. He's going to take some beating. 20 trophies across 593 games in 10 years.
The coveted trophy of the Curry Cup.
For 134 years and across 87 seasons, the Curry Cup has shaped South African rugby history. From famous triumphs to unforgettable upsets, the race for local rugby's greatest and oldest prize returns as the country's top 8 sides go head-to-head once again. The quest to lift the revered Carling Curry Cup Premier Division trophy continues. Only on your World of Champions, because this is how we rugby. Broadcast proudly brought to you by Specsavers and Jet Tour.
Every free click you make is harmful to us. Every illegal stream robs legitimate broadcasters, costing jobs. You can't claim to love the game if you're stealing it.
Behind every video frame are thousands of livelihoods, people that make television and films for you.
And when jobs are lost, families are left devastated.
Those free streaming sites don't just steal our jobs.
They steal from you too.
Your personal information.
Your banking information.
Your money.
All these expose you to cybercrime. When you pirate a story, you destroy the chance for us to tell the next one. Make the right choice. Support what you love.
The time is now. The wait is over.
The 2026 Live Golf season continues.
It is on.
Same game, new season. 4 rounds.
Wow.
72 holes.
Go!
14 epic global events.
Oh, yes.
Don't miss it. You ready?
These titans of world golf.
Let's go!
The 2026 Live Golf season on Supersport. Broadcast proudly brought to you by Auto & General.
Welcome to the Big Apple.
Truly phenomenal. That was simply extraordinary. Have you ever seen anything like it?
The never-ending pursuit to greatness, only on Supersport.
The never-ending tour, only on your World of Champions. She destroyed a childhood.
and thought she got away with it.
Today is really my day, Max. Can you imagine me, the wife of a famous soccer player, Max? We're going to score big here, my love.
But revenge always finds its way back home.
Don't you recognize me, Mama Lucinda?
One woman returns for justice. Another will do anything to protect her lies.
Carmen Lucia Moreira de Souza, your party is about to end.
I really love you, you know.
Passion.
You'd really raise your legitimate child as if you were adopted in the house where you live with your lover, who is actually the real father of the child? Are you serious?
Avenida Brasil. Every Monday to Friday at 7 p.m. only on Novelas Plus.
Welcome you back to the Marbella Sports Center in Marbella, Spain. It is the last of the preseason matches for Orlando Pirates. They've been on the road for 10 days now. This is their 5th match in those 10 days, and players coming back from the FIFA World Cup as well. And you can almost see that, William Shongwe, in some of the play that we've had, where the sharpness isn't maybe quite there. The weather conditions not great either. It's warm. There's a strong breeze blowing. You've got a very tough opposition as well. All sorts of things that count against you if you're Orlando Pirates in a sort of situation. However, this is pre-season, and this is where you start putting things together as far as the regular season is concerned. Regular season for the Saudi Pro League not starting as early as the South African Betway Premiership, which starts on Saturday the 1st of August. So Orlando Pirates getting through the last of their preparations for the regular season in South Africa, which as defending champions is not going to be an easy one, I don't think.
I think 2 words that you can use to describe the situation that we've just said now. Character building. Because this season coming up, it's going to be hard. With Pirates having played that well, like you said, there's going to be so many challenges. There's other teams would like to obviously do better. So Pirates is going to be even more prepared. So this for me is just one way to help the players gear up for what this next season will bring as a challenge.
And those players having a discussion, Mbata and Dooley in the mix, and we are going to see substitutions throughout the course of the second half. No doubt there will be multiple of them. We'll try and keep you posted as far as the changes are concerned, as there's a little playful pushing in the middle of the park with Abdul Malik Al-Oyairi involved in that, and the discussion with Mbata, Moremi continues. Dion Hotto in the mix there as well. So we wait to see what changes Abdesalam Wadou is going to make for the second half. And it's fascinating to see. There's 2 pivotal parts for me that need to be filled from new players or existing players that have to fill new roles. The absence of Sipho Mpule, who for me was terrific throughout the course of the season in that holding role and playing even further ahead of that holding role, and then Mofokeng as well.
I don't know if you saw for a moment, we saw Lacazette there talking to a midfielder who obviously will be feeding the ball to him. He kept saying, you got to fit the balls like to feet. And it'll be interesting to see how that pans out, whether we'll see any examples of that, because he was looking for the ball to be played behind the defense line so that he can run. Maybe in this second half, he wanted to feed so that he can engage some of the midfielders. But yes, I understand your point. Changes in the starting lineup, players leaving, some staying, new ones coming through, and a very exciting season ahead of us.
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. And I mean, if you look at the signings that have been made, I mean, I think Gampani Lungu, who signed from Sibulele, fantastic signing was with Supersport United before that. Mtetelele Mtiani from Stellenbosch FC in the midfield. Fantastic signing as far as that is concerned. And yeah, there's a couple more you throw into the mix there as well. So no, Rapu is a fullback. You've got Molai, who's a midfielder from TX Galaxy. We can go through the list, but they're all there, you know, and it really is going to be interesting to see how Abdesalam Wadu finds the balance in the opening month of the Premier League.
How you basically bring those together to be able to have some form of a playing relationship. That's the biggest challenge for any coach. You can bring great players, good players together, but to make them play together as a team is another.
Well, we're underway for the second half of this one. The last of the second half that Orlando Pirates will play in their pre-season in Spain. Last 45 minutes for Abdesalam Wadu in his pre-season to have a look at the players before getting to the training ground and knuckling down to a week of maybe a little bit of rest over the weekend and a flight back to South Africa from Europe, and then into the real preparation that counts at the start of a campaign and the defense of a title.
Having gone through all this, Kevin, it doesn't mean, no matter how well the preseason works out, that doesn't give you a guarantee that this is how the team is going to come out and play so well and win games. You still have to be tated in a real competitive situation to know that you've done a good job.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating indeed, and it's a long season from the beginning of August until the middle of May. And that's how the season runs in the South African Betway Premiership. And cup competitions thrown in for the mix there as well. Little touch in there from Islam Hausawi, the left-sided fullback. Nice balance of youth and experience for Neom, and one could say the same, I suppose, for Orlando Pirates with some veterans. And pause that thought for a moment, because there's an opportunity here for Ben Rahma. He has been a constant threat to Orlando Pirates throughout the course of this match and gets an opportunity in the opening minutes of the second half.
He's a quality player. He knows how to position himself. That he must have been. That's why. That basically goes to show how disappointed he is with himself, because that was perfect. All that he needed is to push a little bit of his upper body a bit forward to keep it low. It was too easy for him.
Yeah, I think the other thing that is changed for Ben Rahma is, and all of the teams, of course, if we were playing from one side to the other, is an opportunity here for Orlando Pirates. Talent and Barta. Nice little touch and pull there for Maswankani, and a save for Pulka. I'm not sure that he's had to make a save over the course of the match, but at least Otswanapolis has one on target.
Lacking power. He didn't have any momentum build up to striking the shot. That's where the power comes from, with a little bit of a run in.
Yeah, I just want to go back to that effort from Said Ben Rahma, who was playing on mostly on the left flank during the first half, and would have had that strong breeze blowing onto his left shoulder. Now you turn it around, and now you're playing suddenly in the opposite direction. The ball's off your right shoulder, but maybe your mindset is still in the first half, and therefore when you pull the trigger, you may be trying to pull it towards the left-hand upright of the Sipho chain goal instead of the right-hand upright. And the wind just dragged that ball straight across the face of the Orlando Pirates goal. I don't think it was the greatest effort anyway.
But you're making a lot of sense. Without a doubt, it's coming from the opposite side. So you're trying to bend it that side, but it just flies up into the far side.
A couple of changes that we've had. See the number 11 on for Neom, which is Hassan Alali, who's a 24-year-old striker who played at Al Ahly, and Abba, under 23 international for Saudi Arabia as well, is the 24-year-old. I'm sure that's not all of the changes that have been made by Christophe Galtier, who, just like Abdesalam Wadu, is in the pre-season. They have a match in a week's time against Las Palmas. Orlando Pirates. And I was wondering during halftime whether it wouldn't have been a good idea for Orlando Pirates just to slow the game down a little bit, play just behind the halfway line. And the counter to that is that Neom won't allow them to do that. Because they play with such a lot of power and strength. Nicely stroking the ball around here. This is Hausawi. Nathan Zeze in the centre of defence for Neom. Work to be done by CPC. Asman Ganya gets a touch as well. This is Radio Pane retaining his position. I'll tell you what he did rather nicely there was shielding the ball away from his opposition. And he seems to have put on a little bit of weight. I see that he's strength in his quadriceps seems to have strengthened as well. And we spoke about that with Yanela Mbotuma when he signed from Richards Bay FC, that he needed to put on a little bit more bulk to behold. I mean, defenders are traditionally and normally quite sturdy fellas. And you've got to compete against those.
Exactly. And the last game that I saw Radu Pan is how he was able to hold that ball so well. A whole lot of the time he's isolated from the rest of the team, and the ball when he receives is like on his own. So he's got to get himself to where he can hold the ball a little bit. So he's not a runner. He's the type of striker that you want to play to fit. So you need to bulk up a bit so that you can hold for a moment or so to allow the midfielders to come a little bit closer.
Looks like we're going to have a substitution because Dion Hotto is angling off on the far side. And only left back on the starting lineup is in amongst the subs is Nkosikona Ndaba, who signed from Richards Bay FC. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is Ndaba who's come on for a run.
It is, of course.
And I think that's a good thing for Orlando Pirates. I mean, at the age of 35, are you really expecting Dion Hotto, who will turn 36 throughout the course of the new season, to play day in, day out at the intensity in which Orlando Pirates are going to face during the course of the upcoming campaign? And to a 23-year-old Ndaba would settle into that position rather nicely, I'm sure, and provide adequate cover.
And furthermore, that you have Rapo, who is the other left full back who can come in and but he's not in the starting lineup or in the squad list today. So makes sense that Ndaba is the one that gets to get into that position.
Alternative policy is done nicely here, and looking to challenge Hausawi. A lot of players suddenly closing him down, but needs a bit of support in there. Finds it eventually. Nice work done by Siema. Good play over the halfway line. Talent Mpata with a little bit of a pirouette. And this is more promising from Orlando Pirates. And good cover as well from Hausawi. So Billy had really motioned himself forward. I'm talking about Billy. He's also grown in stature. He's not a small chap anymore.
I hope he doesn't lose his speed from that build-up, because what happens when a player suddenly gains a bit of weight, he loses his agility, he loses his sharpness and speed. So I hope in this case he's able to maintain, because his strength is his speed, being able to go forward, beating defenders.
Yeah, I think as the defender, Islam Hausawi went down, he might have caught the boot of Billy, might have stood on one of his hands, but he's off the field of play, and there's absolutely no reason why the match shouldn't continue.
It's true.
Players having a chance to grab a drink of water, and Mohamed Waleed one of them, and Al Dasari another. Goalkeeper Marcin Bulka also over to have a look what's happening with his teammates, but I think the referee needs to call the players to order. 8 minutes into the second half. Only goal of the match came just after the half-hour mark with a wonderful free kick from the number 10, Ben Rahma. Would have been fabulous to have a lot more cameras in the stadium, and a camera behind the goal of Sipa Chain would have given us the full story, surely.
Even without it, because I was very concerned about how did that ball get through, because there must have been, clearly for me, eventually I could see that we might not have the clearest of pictures of view, but it was easy to tell that it's a mistake.
Sipa Chain, new player in Ndaba with a little bit of possession. And Orlando Pirates, I think, have slowed the game down maybe just a fraction, and keeping ball to feet more than what they did during the first half, which I think is more than encouraging. Need to do that more over the halfway line. Talent Mbata continues to play that holding midfield role now. Is the offside flag stayed down here? Really good opportunity for Sapili. Good pullback from him as well, or maybe not so good. Second bite of the cherry. Apollos. Now Maswangani, he pulls the trigger. There was a deflection. Radiopan stabs it wide. Good opportunities all round, and suddenly there's a bit more urgency, but more than that, there's a bit more quality up front from Orlando Pirates.
Obviously, with a few players that has been brought in, so the legs have been refreshed. Moriko in that middle is another that has been brought in, but Rajupani, yeah, okay, he regains position, but I feel like his first touch, the first time he received, was what let him down. But he recovers and he steps the ball, but under low pressure, it doesn't quite work out.
With all that being said, I do like that he didn't hesitate to attack the ball with his left foot. And he showed in the first half a right-footed effort, and now in the second half a left-footed effort. And this is, we bang on about this so often in commentary, that you wish more attacking players could be as versatile enough to be able to strike with confidence with both feet.
That should be the case. But unfortunately, I think the development structures don't help these players enough to help develop them in such instances. Which is where maybe the European coaches are ahead of us in being able to develop players that can at least apply them in such situations with both feet.
And if you don't have the national tendency to it, then, you know, stay behind after practice. And when everybody else has gone home, and pick a teammate and ask them to stay behind and practice those sort of efforts. It's that additional effort that could make all the difference at the end of the day, and almost guarantee you a place in the starting lineup, not only because coaches see that sort of effort being made, but it does help, as there's a foul committed by El Bureik.
It's professionalism from the players themselves. You don't always to be followed behind to say you need to do this. You got to realize that this is your own career, and if you want to improve in whatever position that you play and excel, you need to put the effort yourself. This is what some of the great players in Europe, we've had so many stories about the kind of work that they put in just to help themselves get better. I'm talking about great players, world-class players. They still put in the work.
So Billy comes to the rescue to Orlando Pirates, although the ball ends up with Sipo Chain. That's a tough start to the season, because especially for the sides in the top 8, because, as we said, the opening round of the Premier League happens on the 1st, and then there's the opening round of the top 8 competition, which is a knockout competition. So the 8 teams involved in 4 matches, and then on the 12th of August is the second round. So for Orlando Pirates already, with only 12 days having taken elapsed in the start of the season, 3 matches. And yes, they might start against the Milford side, which I don't think is going to be an easy match, and we know the draw for the MTN 8, but then they play Amazulu, another KwaZulu-Natal side, in round 2 of the Betway Premiership, and they're going to come thick and fast. And you know, the big sides like Chiefs and Sundowns are lurking in the background. Sekhukhune United, and you know, the sides like Marumo Gallants and Siwelele, that ended in the bottom half of the table. TX Galaxy. There's no easy fixture.
No. That's the beauty about the Betway Premiership.
Oh yeah.
And it's gone so competitive that you just never know which way a game is going to go, and which has helped up the game to a level whereby players can compete at the highest possible level.
Al-Sawe, a little bit of space in the midfield for Neom, and don't forget the ever-lurking Said Ben Rahma. But so far in the second half, no damage done. Orlando Pirates playing, I think, a slightly slower but a slightly better quality football than we saw during the first half, where there was a sense of urgency, and understandably so. Nice through ball through to Patrick Maswangani.
His ankles got clipped. Kone. He's a big boy, Kone.
I was just about to say, he's a bit of a big unit, isn't he? Only 21 years old, and played at Reims in France, and at 23 Ivorian international. And Amadou Kone surely must have the world at his feet, playing in the Saudi Arabian Pro League. Sipo Chain in no great hurry to get play back underway, and yeah, I think if Orlando Pirates can continue with their quality and get quality box penetrations, there's every opportunity that they can come up with an equalizer. So far in their exploits in the pre-season, they've scored 6 goals and conceded 6 as well. 3-1 match against Al Ittihad. Conceded 1 against Cadiz, 1 against Cordoba, 1 in this match. Scored 2 against Cadiz, 2 against Al Ittihad, and 1 against Las Palmas and 1 against Cordoba. And 2 of them going to Boitumelo Radiapane. We had an hour of football played in Marbella. Warm conditions in Spain, warm conditions across Europe and United Kingdom as well. And bit of an injury problem for Neom.
I'm sure you'll have had first-hand experience about the weather conditions there, because you were there just a few days back.
Yeah, I had a little trip into Belgium. Not that I was trying to follow the Relebochile Mofokeng. Left him behind in Brussels and went down to a little town called Spa, but a big event there, and yeah, what a privilege it was as well. But yeah, the player that's injured on the far side, Mohamed Al-Saad, 23-year-old international, and yeah, he looks as if he's got a serious problem.
The scorer of the goal, by the way.
No, that was Said Ben Rahma. It was Mohamed Al-Saad who missed that great opportunity during the first half. Remember, Al-Saad put him through, Rahma put him through.
And then Rahma is the one that scored eventually.
But yeah, the little trip to Europe was a good one. And yeah, the weather conditions are warm, and that's why I can tell you that at 10:30 at night, when you're trying to sleep, the sun might not be shining as brightly, but it's still light outside. It's pretty hectic when you get off the plane down in Joburg and it's 5 degrees.
Wow.
And that's what Orlando Pirates will experience when they come back here. That's
so.
Readaptation. That's why they need to come back a week early. That's why Sundowns are back and Chiefs are back. It's readjustment to South African weather conditions. And, well, really we're just about a month away from the 1st of September, which traditionally is spring day, although even on the from the 1st of September you'll get a cool day here or there. Alexandre Lacazette struggling against Nkosikona and Daba suddenly. Man in the picture is Mohammed Walid. Easy pickings for Sipo Chain, and it's fascinating to see the difference between the two sides in the second half in comparison to the first. Much more urgent from Neom during the course of the first half, and Orlando Pirates now benefiting from maybe a little bit more space and time in this second period, although the ball doesn't reach Oswanapolis, and that's because the wind is still blowing towards us in the commentary box.
This speed and the high intensity with which Neom are playing means that they need to get across to the offensive half very quickly, as we see Ben Rahman down here with an injury from this situation in Morocco with the foul, which wasn't given. And the speed with which you go into the attack is how much ball position you can lose over a time. And I think that is also giving Orlando Pirates that much of time to have to build up on the ball, because for some reason Neom are now rushing, obviously with an increase of intensity, but it also means that they'll give away ball position more often.
Looks like Ben Rahman's okay to continue. It was a bit of a hectic foul from Abdoulaye Mariko, who's returned from Chipper United, the 24-year-old Malian. Didn't find the space regularly at Orlando Pirates. Went on loan down to Taberga and East London, where Chipper United play their football. It's going to be interesting to see from Chipper United, who regularly allocate matches both in PE and East London, and how many will be allocated to East London in the coming season. I know there were 10 matches allocated to East London last season, and the big matches, the Chiefs and the Sundowns and the Pirates, etc., were taken to East London. It's a bit of a strong challenge in the middle of the park on Bukhlale and Ngwato, the right winger signed from Sibilele, and given an opportunity here in this final club friendly. Free kick to Orlando Pirates, in a discussion with the match referee from the captain of Orlando Pirates and Kosanati Sibisi. Opportunity for Talentum Parter to do what Said Ben Rahma did in the first half, although
yes,
he might be a little bit further away. In fact, he's not. This is almost this identical position.
Exactly. But look at the wall. Covers that near post, and the goalkeeper was just there positioning it.
So what did you do? Go top left-hand corner?
That's where the real opportunity is for me, because he seems to be a little bit closer to the near.
It is wind assisted, don't forget. And whether that played a part or whether it was just a poor delivery from the 26-year-old midfielder, only he'll be able to tell us, I suppose.
He was looking for that far post.
No intervention required by goalkeeper or defenders. Still looking very fleet-footed here. Good opportunity now for Patrick Maswangani. Space outside the penalty area. Maswangani will arrive again. Solid defense, though, from Neom. And away comes Ben Rahma. Always a danger when the number 10 gets hold of the ball. That's nicely thwarted by Orlando Pirates early on. Now Ben Rahma pulls wide. Oh, it's a lovely intervention. Suddenly there seems to be a little more urgency in the Orlando Pirates attack. Nearly heading up towards the halfway stage of the second half, and they need a decent cross in the area. And if they don't get it, well, maybe they'll settle for the corner, which they have done with Ngwato. This is wind assisted, so Moremi has to be a little cautious to where he strikes as high he strikes this. Anticipation from the travelling Orlando Pirates contingent. Little flick across goal, and there was an opportunity for Apollos, not quite as decisive as he would have liked. And then at the far post, a bit of a hash as well from Abdullah Mariko, as the wind again plays its part in moving the ball close to the Malian midfielder quicker than he anticipated. We are halfway through the second half, so the referee given an opportunity for the players to have another hydration break. See the young goalkeeper Mohammed Al-Hakim, number 21 jersey, and former Al-Shabaab player, doing a warm-up in the yellow jersey there, and some instructions coming from the coaches towards Mohammed Walid as well. And Daba having a chat to the coaching staff of Orlando Pirates, and he's writing his script there is Abdeslam Wadu. He'll chat there with Talentum Barter and with Leboni Siema. Tough to be a coach, but you have to go back to his arrival in South Africa, Abdeslam Wadu, and taking over a Marumo Gallant side who were heading towards relegation, and just above the relegation zone when he took over from them, or they maybe were even in the playoff position. And he took them up to about 10th position by the end of that campaign. And who would have thought at that stage that he would become the coach of Orlando Pirates and then go on to win the championship for the first time in ages?
That, for me, was obviously the biggest question. But having coached in the DRC, TP Mazembe,
yes,
one of the teams, a very difficult team to coach, with lots of supporters, and Champions League is just their way of life, and the pressure that comes with that is what would have prepared him to be able to be at this stage of his football career or coaching career.
Yeah, he's very, very level-headed, very approachable. If you're at the stadium and you want to have a chat to him, he always makes time to exchange a greeting or two. And he's had a massive amount of success. And your first season with a massive club. I mean, Orlando Pirates has got a legacy that goes back years and years and years. I mean, the club was established in 1937. So next year,
pressure.
90 years old.
Pressure.
Orlando Pirates, and yeah, pressure. They'll want to win the league title in their 90th year of existence. Can they go back to back as far as Premier League titles is concerned? We'll have to wait and see, though. We have about 10 months for that to happen. There is Christophe Galtier, as I said, 59-year-old Frenchman. Discussion in the middle of the park about maybe some of the tactics that have been employed from both sides. And Abdeslam Wadou continues to make notes and continues to have discussions. And it's nice to see that his understudies in the coaching staff are being given an opportunity to have their say and chatting directly to the players as well, because that's not all about the players. It's a lot about the players, but it's not only about the players, because these young coaches are getting an opportunity at this level to express their opinions as well.
There's just too much to pay attention to, and as a result, the coach is giving all the different responsibilities to the different coaches to attend to. There's so much time to be able to address all the problems that are happening in the field of play. So it's good coaching.
The word to Patrick Maswangani as we're just about to get underway then for the resumption. Abdullah Mariko making his way back onto the field of play. And I don't think a 1-0 defeat would be an unmitigated and total disaster for Orlando Pirates. But yeah, they'll obviously want to leave Spain with some sort of success, even if it is a victory in the second half, because Neom winning the first half and Orlando Pirates grab an equalizer, and maybe they could use that to go even further than that.
The youngster, Zeze, a Frenchman. There is a big influence of French players in this league.
Totally.
Lacazette as well up front. And then Ben Rama is Algerian. So it's a really good mix of foreign players in this league.
Yeah, they certainly are. So play about to restart then with a good long break then offered by the referee. It looks as if there has been a change in goal. That almost looked as if it was Mohamed Al-Hakim who's taken over from Marcin Bulka between the sticks for Neom. Certainly doesn't look like the tall Polish 26-year-old. That's now between the post and the last line of defense. Abdullah Mariko in conversation with the referee for a potential foul. It was a handball, actually.
Yeah, claiming that it hits the top of the shoulder.
I see that Mishari Alfi is on for Neom as well. Ball away by Nathan Zeze. We're going to see Neom now in these final 20 minutes or so start to play the sort of football we saw during the first half and apply a little bit more pressure to Sipho Chain's goal, because quite honestly we haven't seen anything of the Pirates goalkeeper in the second half.
Given that first half, it wasn't much. So that basically gives you the summary that Orlando Pirates defensively have held well. Like I said, for me, throughout this competition, all the goals they considered was just an element of a lapse of concentration.
More space in the middle of the park and a little bit more forcefulness being shown by Neom at the moment. And CMO with a thumbs up to Sipho Chain. Mangani Zulu is on the pitch. Former Rotterdam and Richards Bay FC central defender. So changes continue to be made by both Abdeslam Wadou and Christophe Galtier, which is what part of the pre-season is all about. Long ball from Mohamed Walid. Here's Coney. Now Willie holds the ball up. Opportunity for Al Ali. Ball popped into the midfield, but a little bit slow on the uptake there was Sharaheli. Multiple changes then made by the French coach Galtier, and an easy pickup for Sipo Chain. Well, the attitude at Neom of coming to this encounter after the hydration break certainly adds to a lot more excitement in the final 15 minutes or so. That's lovely play by Orlando Pirates. Good opportunity for Ndaba, who was doing most of that creativity from a left-back position, which is encouraging. Tepang Moremi looking for the return ball, Moremi, and not able to really contain it, and a little bit of a late start potentially for Mangani Zulu. Good cover from Faris Abdi. So 15 minutes remaining in the pre-season, although I think there'll be a little bit of time added on because of the hydration break. Pirates still trailing by a goal to nil. Will be the first match, if they fail to score in this one, the first match they would have failed to score in. They've only had one clean sheet as well, and that was against Las Palmas in their previous encounter, where it was heading towards a goalless draw, and suddenly Radio Pony came up with a goal to spare the blushes for the Buccaneers.
Something else that has changed in the Orlando Pirates formation. They're now going to play with 3 at the back, with Sibangani Zulu coming in. So it means that they've introduced a wing-back type of a structure. With Ndaba pushing forward. We saw him being creative just a few minutes ago, meaning that he's been given the license to push a bit more forward.
And that's a good thing, and that's another thing that coaches are given the latitude to toy with and try during the course of the season. At what stage then do we have 3 at the back and have wing-back play, and what stages do we go 4-4-2 and 4-3-2-1, and these are the things that all take place during the pre-season. And as we said, at times it might look a little bit messy and a little bit ill-conceived. However, I have every belief that Abdeslam Wadu has his plan. If he doesn't have just one plan either, probably a whole bunch of them. Oh, that's a bit uncomfortable. Keep the ball in play, and onto the paving stones on the outside of the pitch from the fullback Zulu. No damage done, it looks like. Moremi. Well, the pullback wasn't exactly what the doctor ordered, and Neom benefiting from that possession. Strong challenge in the middle of the park as well from Orlando Pirates.
Mahopa is another that has made his way in, and meaning that, which makes a lot of sense why they've gone with 3 at the back now. They want to be able to use a bit of wing play from the wing backs, which will ping in crosses for Mahopa to be able to get into the end of.
Yeah, quality player Mahopa, but a quality interception from Faris Abdi. Doesn't last long though. Orlando Pirates really, the quality of the second half has really been impressive. Remy looking a tad frustrated. Yeah, they're not playing against an easy opposition, and Neom finished 8th in the Saudi Pro League last season, but that's not the start and end of their success, because if you look at the seasons prior to them playing in the Pro League, it's been quite incredible for Neom and how they've been able to get themselves into the top flight as the ball goes behind the goal of Neom. If you look at the Saudi 3rd Division Tier 4 winners in 2022, in 24 winners of the 3rd tier in the 2nd Division, and winners of the 2nd Division 2nd tier in 24-25 to earn their place in the Saudi Pro League. So there's been a lot of success, a lot of build-up, and a lot of preparation for Neom heading into the Saudi Pro League. And finishing in 8th position last season, I don't think is a bad result. Ball headed away by Nathan Zeze from the Orlando Pirates corner. Neom having to play almost counter-attacking football here in the second half, with Orlando Pirates certainly improving upon their quality. Zeze finding Abdi, back to the Frenchman. And they exchange passes for about the 3rd or 4th time. No damage done, and nobody from Orlando Pirates able to come up with an interception either. And the question will always be asked, and if you had to sit Abdesalam Wadu down in the next couple of days when they return to South Africa, if he would agree to that, and Orlando Pirates obviously agree to that, and have a chat with him and ask him if he was entirely satisfied, it would be interesting to hear the differences. He's very clinical and very tactical in the way that he approaches matches, hence the success of Orlando Pirates last season.
Which is why then you don't put too much emphasis on winning. Yes, you want a team to win, but when you are building, when you're putting together, there's so many different players at the same time. It's not the main interest of the coach. All that he's looking for is what he's preparing for what it will become during the season. I know the fans will want to win. They'll want to start bragging right from the onset to say, hey, we beat this team, we beat that. But that's not so much the main interest from the coach. He's building.
It really is going to be fascinating to see on the social media commentators, to hear what they have to say and the observations about this encounter. It's always interesting to read the threads of, particularly when it comes to individual players, and not just a general sporadic statement like, yeah, Orlando Pirates weren't impressive. That's not good enough. You know, it's got to come down to, well, where and how and what. I mean, if you're a real fan, give us that meat. Certainly think there's enough of a squad, even based on the players that have left the club or found greener pastures, that Orlando Pirates can build on. As I said, there are maybe some positions more important than others that need to have attention and be filled by players of similar quality. And those are the opportunities that come at any stage of the season. The transfer windows open down at the beginning of the season and halfway through the season. There's always opportunities for players that have maybe played second fiddle to first teamers to come out and really prove what they're capable of. Guato is the man who was on the end of a foul challenge from a Neom player. Orlando Pirates then with Moremi. I don't think we've seen the best of Moremi in this encounter, to be honest. Forward again by Cameron Danson, who has also made a late appearance for the Buccaneers. Wore the captain's armband. One of the 4 players out of the 5 matches that have worn the captain's armband. We've seen Asipo Chain wear it. We've seen Cameron Danson, at just 21 years old, wearing the captain's armband. And Sabisi's worn it twice. And so it's very interesting to see, not only from a playing point of view, but from a leadership point of view, where Abdesalam Wadu is going in his mind.
And which, of course, I don't know the youngster dancing much, but for him to be able to put that armband speaks a lot about what the coach thinks of him.
Yeah, it's massive. And if your first-team leadership is not available, then you have to have backup. Masongani playing maybe a little deeper at the moment. Coney gets the better of him. A little bit of space available as well to Ahmed Al-Anazi, who's on as a sub. There's so many players on as substitutes at the moment. Just about the whole of the Neom side is the first teamers are on the bench. Good defensive work by Moremi. Certainly seems quite emotional. There's Chapeng.
Full of fire.
Chapeng. Don't mind seeing that sort of emotion, as long as it's challenged in the right direction, and that's towards scoring goals for the team that you are representing, whether it be at national level or in this case in the club situation. Cameron Danson gets a bit out-muscled by Al-Anazi. What sort of energy do Orlando Pirates have after a really tough pre-season in Spain? As I said, 5 matches in 10 days is very, very hectic indeed. And when you've come back from a FIFA World Cup finals, because it's not only about the pressure, both the intensity from a psychological point of view, but on the field of play as well at a World Cup, the amount of travel.
Yeah.
And some of these players really will feel it from an Orlando Pirates point of view. But yeah, that's where the depth of squad will come in, and you choose your battles. And yeah, sometimes when you're playing against a supposed weaker opposition, you'll find suddenly a surprise in goals, or maybe some of the outfield players, the midfielders, will be a bit of a surprise. And you look amongst the substitutes and all the big guns are there, just in case it doesn't quite work out. Rest is such an important part of any extreme athlete, and these are superior athletes in their own right. Might not be running around on an athletics track, but as far as athletic ability is concerned and the demands of a professional football, it's intense. Rest plays such an integral part. There's diet, there's rest, there's the right sort of training methods, recovery from injury. It's so diverse. 4 minutes of stoppage time remaining in Mobela for Orlando Pirates. Will play on Saturday, the 1st of August, against the newly promoted Milford FC side from KwaZulu-Natal. Neom, a day before that, will play against Las Palmas in their final match of the pre-season. Meantime, a spotted defending to be done for Orlando Pirates. Hasn't happened for some time, and not able to tickle the ball through the middle of the park there was Mishare Alfi. I know there was an incident that happened in South African football or off the pitch a little while ago, but we haven't been on air, certainly because of the FIFA World Cup finals and holiday period. But I haven't had an opportunity to express my sincere condolences and sadness in the passing of Jaden Adams, and his team and his family, and all his friends and compatriots and people that just knew him by name and his expertise. It's a very, very sad time.
Very.
Yeah, may he be remembered fondly for all the good things that happen in life. Faris Abdi came on as a substitute, finds Coney, who seems to be playing for 90 minutes today, and good performance as well from the young Ivorian midfielder. Well, nicely kept in play as well by Neom. Are we going to see a late burst through by the Saudi side? Well, it appears not. Yosipo Chain will have possession here. We're running into the final part of this, William Shongwe, and I know there's more pre-season that'll happen in South Africa. Lots of little tournaments happening, with the Premier Cups happening in various parts of the country. I know there's a Premier Cup happening in Mpumalanga, probably one in the Limpopo province, certainly done in KwaZulu-Natal. I think you were involved in that over the weekend. There's lots to take in, and there's a lot to be excited about, I think.
Remember, that just gives us a slight window of what we are more likely to see. For me, the type of players that get signed from the small tournaments, from this kind of pre-season games happening, just gives us that small window, open window to what the teams can do. And we can obviously talk about some of the players coming from those type of situations that are signed from those tournaments.
Yeah, and new coaches as well. I mean, Mangoba Ngcuti, such a long time at Mamelodi Sundowns, is a good catch made by Al Hakim. Moving to Tanzania, where Steve Barker has done an unbelievable job up there. And he's joined there's two big teams in Tanzania. There's Young Africans, who are called Younger, and then there's Simba FC.
Yes.
And now you got 2 South African coaches coaching those two. And Mangoba Miti will have a derby against Steve Barker. So, we look forward to that. But, who takes over at Lamontville Golden Arrows? And there's other coaching changes that have been made as well. So, it's fascinating in any league in the world. And silly season has passed. And now we're getting into what really counts. And the start of the season is going to be brilliant.
If I may just bring in, let's watch where this move is going, and then I'll tell you.
Oh, Kearney's got a bit of support here from Hassan Al-Ali.
Just last season, in fact, when Steve Kompela finished the season with Golden Arrows, he had an offer from one of those 2. And unfortunately, some things didn't work out.
Opportunity in the middle of the park for Abdullahi Mariko, goes over the top. And we're just a few seconds away from the end of the 90.
That wasn't a train smash though, because immediately Sundowns came through with an offer for him. So he was able to settle down. And what I'm trying to say is South Africa is beginning to export coaches. They used to export players, but now they're beginning to export coaches. That says so much about how far the football in this country have grown. Whereby
greater respect.
Yes.
Totally for the southern part of the African continent. And it's fabulous to see that. The player's been recognized. I mean, if you look at the signing that was made for Mbekizeli and Bukhazi, and he did nothing to dent his reputation from the FIFA World Cup finals. It was at home, and the fans in America would have known his exploits with Chicago Fire. Offers coming in from Europe, and Chicago Fire said, well, if there's a great offer that comes in from Europe, they'll let him go, and
amazing.
I haven't heard consolidation of that, but it's one player that I think has really made a name for himself. Had a chat to him after the Colin knockout success, and so humble and almost shy. It was almost as if he was overwhelmed by the success that he's had so early on in his life. He's just 20 years old.
Humility plays a big role in how far you can go in life.
Massive. Some portray it better than others do. But here we are in second half stoppage time in Marbella towards the end of the pre-season for Orlando Pirates. Offside flag's gone up against Neom. Don't forget there was that hydration break that took care of about 2 or 3 minutes, maybe even longer, and then a couple of injuries as well. So we might have this match going on for some while. Orlando Pirates looking for an equaliser to end their European pre-season campaign off on a good note. But it has been a much better second half, I must say. Moremi does well to keep it in play, beats one player, looks to beat another. It's a lovely floated ball. Unfortunately, no black jersey behind it. Mariko. Oh, he turns around. Nobody willing to find into space. Maswangani's played for 90 minutes. The referee has played for 90 minutes and blows the final whistle then. Only one goal in this one. Neom scoring with a free kick through Ben Rachma just after the half-hour mark. You can see what pressure has come through this encounter with players going down under the scrutiny of the hot sun, the really hard-blowing wind, and efforts over the last 10 days and 5 matches. Moremi has left his heart out there. We saw the substitution for Sambagani, Zulu, and players in the mix today and in the spotlight that we're likely to see over the next 10 months in the local Betway Domestic Premier League. And as for Neom, that one final match against Las Palmas in the pre-season before they get on with the next season of the Pro League. But for Orlando Pirates, it's back home and preparation for the newly promoted Milford FC in their opening match at the Amstel Arena in Orlando. Orlando Pirates not able to come up with the goods today. The first match that they haven't scored a goal in. The goal came from a free kick for Ben Rachma. Neom beat Orlando Pirates by a single goal to 0.